Hey everyone, this is Pastor Nat, and you're listening to Win the Day. This is your daily 5-minute discipleship to help you stand firm, stand faithful, and stand on God's Word. Whatever it is you're struggling with, we want to help you overcome it. So to help you do that today, we're going to talk about helping you get your life back on track with Christ. I recently saw a meme of a person sitting next to a gift. The gift was wrapped in gold paper with a nice red bow on it. Now, when you saw this gift, you immediately knew what it was. It was clearly a bicycle. But underneath this picture was the gift-wrapped bike, but it was opened. Now, what appeared to be a bike was actually just a bunch of junk strategically placed to fool the gift recipient. The caption was priceless. It said, "What sin promises," in other words, the bike, while in reality it delivers heartache and trash. If you're like me, you've approached sin the same way, thinking it's a good thing. It's worth the price of admission. But in reality, you come away hurt and disappointed. Well, if this has been you, the Apostle Paul has some practical advice for us as we continue our 5-minute study of Ephesians. Ephesians 4 says, "With the Lord's authority I say this, live no longer as the Gentiles do, for they are hopelessly confused. Their minds are full of darkness. They wander far from the life God gives because they have closed their minds and hardened their hearts against Him. They have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasure and eagerly practice every kind of impurity." I remember having a discussion with a family member about their work environment. This person said, "My coworkers, they are driving me nuts. They lie, they steal, they are constantly talking about their illicit sex lives and the abuse of drugs and alcohol. Why do they act this way?" I had to laugh and say, why do non-believers act like non-believers? It's because they're non-believers. That's why. That's what Paul is saying here. Don't act like Gentiles, in other words, non-Jews, or we could simply just say non-believers. Why? Because their lives are bent towards sin and destruction. If you read Paul's letters, you see some common themes, such as we are bought with a price. We are slaves of Christ. We are free from slavery to sin. There is this visible and real difference before and after we come to faith. Christ transforms us, and Paul just goes on and on. So many of us today are spiritually stuck because we keep going back to our old sinful ways. We see those sins wrapped up in some beautiful worldly package and either forget that what's really inside is garbage, or we fool ourselves and say, no, not this time. This time it's going to be really the bike. It's really going to be great. But it never is. One theologian said, sin is meeting a legitimate need in an illegitimate way. God says, trust me. I'm not a liar. My ways, my provision, they're best. You have all you need in me and through me. Just trust me and obey. Today, my challenge for you is to ask yourself, where have my old habits and sins crept back in? Why have these appeared to be good when I know that they're really garbage? And then I want you to ask for help to both recognize sin for what it is and to avoid it. I love what 1 Corinthians 10 says. Paul writes, God is faithful. He will not allow the temptation to be more than you can stand when you are tempted. He will show you a way out so that you can endure. God has freed us from bondage, so let's stay near to Him and let Him keep us away from sin.